As to say, Seamus is at Cork Airport. More on that a little later this morning. But Eoghan Corry has Air and Travel magazine, and you should be following him on Facebook. He joins me by phone. Eoghan, good morning. Hang on a second. Let me go so sorry. Eoghan, good morning. Can you hear me all right?
Hello.
Eoghan, excellent. Okay, listen. Are you optimistic that this is a good day, a good thing, and this is the right thing to be doing? Opening up. I don't mean to be the doomsayer here, but are we quietly confident that this is the right thing to be doing?
Without question, everybody else has done it 2 weeks ago. It's worked really well right across Europe. We've got a long way to go. We're still the most disconnected country of the 40 in Europe. And the airports that we can now travel legally, but the airport capacity is below 30%. Amsterdam will be running at 80% today. Istanbul will be running around 92%, and Athens somewhere in between. It's beginning. It's a reopening, but it's really only legalising it. And there's been a lot of foot dragging, not just two contradictory pages on the government website on that information that Simon touched on, that you no longer need to a PCR test arriving from the UK or from the USA. The children under 12 no longer need to test. All of that has been updated on one side of the government, while people looking in from abroad are getting confusing information still. And of course, there's been a narrative, a talking up of the problems around the enormity of the problems that have been talked up certainly over the weekend.
Yeah, but hold on a second. I mean, Spain or regions of Spain have reintroduced curfews, haven't they? And that's a worry, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a rising rate. We're the sixth highest in Europe ourselves. Spain is higher than us, and Portugal is higher than us, and Cyprus is higher. Of the holiday destinations, Italy and Croatia are very low. But the regional lockdowns that we're talking about are things like the closing of nightclubs. Outdoor dining and indeed indoor dining has been prevalent in Spain, throughout Spain, since the beginning of April. And when the regional updates that we saw over the weekend in places like Catalonia, they have related to measures that haven't even started to open in Ireland yet. The experience when you get to all these holiday resorts is going to be different, and the experience of getting there is going to be a little bit more uncomfortable with your mask through the airport and your mask on board the aircraft. There's different airline issues as well. One of our major airlines wants you to bring bags on board. That's Ryanair. The other one, Aer Lingus, wants you to not to bring cabin bags on board. So there are all those issues to be navigated. But the real problem issues about health have all been covered under the digital COVID certificate. That's what's happening today. That's what the rest of Europe did 2 weeks ago, and we're finally coming along with
them. And those that don't have the COVID cert but do have the piece of cardboard with the 2 vaccination serial numbers, will that suffice?
It has been sufficing. It's not legislated for, but airlines have been letting you on board, and countries have been admitting Irish people. I think across Europe there's a realisation that we ran into problems introducing it. Romania, by the way, ran into a few problems as well. The others all seem to have got it through, that we're a bit slower. But you can talk up that, but the rollout of the digital COVID certificate since Tuesday has been phenomenal. And let's cut it to the chase here. The people who can travel unrestricted today are those who've been through their full course of vaccination plus 14 days, and children up to the age of 12. The bit in the middle still needs tests, but there's convergence on that as well. Antigen test outbound, it costs €45, where it's about half the price of a PCR test. And the PCR test on return, they tend to be cheaper abroad than they're available in Ireland. Yeah. So a family would probably come of a mix of under 12, the fully vaccinated, and a few in the middle. It's certainly a big improvement from where we were.
So do you think that with the international travel now from today and this day week indoor hospitality, that it's inevitable that we're going to see cases go up? 1,179 yesterday. Mind you, we're not looking at increases in hospitals nor ICU. That it's inevitable they'll go up, but that we just have to live with that.
The convergence on international travel is that of between 1% and 2%. Ours has been consistently below 1%, but that's because we were the most disconnected. Now, what's interesting is that there are vested interests, and they're two of the most expensive PR companies in Ireland have been hired and some of what you have heard over the weekend have been numbers which are higher than what is the international average. Obviously, people who speak on behalf of the health services have come up with figures. I saw a figure of 77% of cases were imported a little while ago. It takes a while to chase down all of those claims, but they don't actually add up in what's happening internationally. And that is the...
Is it 1 in 10 is the figure, is it?
Well, we had a 1 in 10 at the weekend, but the international is less than 2%, 1 in 50. And that's what international travel has, that's what's been showing up in countries like Germany, like Sweden, like Britain, like the USA, that all around the world, it hasn't been that different. If it went over 2% in some countries, there was probably another underlying factor.
But if you accept 1 in 10, say in June, surely July it'll be higher, and August will be higher again.
1 in 10 is the point. It's 1 in 50, Neil. And if it goes up to 2 in 50, or if it rises, first of all, we've got one of the highest case rates in Europe. We were fourth. We're now about 6 or 7. A couple of countries overtook us last week. And second of all, we're the most disconnected. So it's highly unlikely. And the data debate and the data narrative, you've had lots of it in your programme, as has everybody else. Yeah. It turns out into a nothing argument or a circular argument, because people come on and say, my data is better than yours. What I can say is that it has been probably talked up. Figures have been sought and talked up by the vested interest in Ireland.
No, I know that, but I'm just wondering, are we creating... I'm just wondering if we're not creating a perfect storm, that people would go on holidays, whether it's the 1 in 10, as the virologist was saying at the weekend, or 1 in 70, and they come back and then they go into indoor hospitality, and that's how it spread. Same discussions we had as last year.
Yeah, it is. It's a question that if it did work, we wouldn't have the rates yet. But what I would say is, it's not peer-reviewed international research literature that's used in the argument to close travel. It's Dúrban Lum, Dúrban Lay, and we've a fair bit of that going on at the moment.
Okay, today's a big day. Bring it on. Do you think that loads will be heavy? Are there bargains out there, or prices? Is there a seat sale?
Very good bargains. It's a fiver to Germany at the moment from Dublin. The loads around the Malaga flight this morning would be a good test from Aer Lingus, just over 60%. I think Aer Lingus's load factors are running around 60 through the summer for the advanced bookings, and Ryanair is a bit higher because they've been more aggressive on price, over 70% in a lot of cases. Okay. The reality is the capacity is down. We have 128 flights out of Dublin today. We'd normally have more than 300.
And I think 15,000
going through the airport. It would be over 100,000.
I think 15 a day in July. And just very finally, because I'm over time here, when will America open up to Europe and the rest of Europe?
America's talking about it, and we've got a very pro-Irish president, the most pro-Irish in 60 years, so likely to happen quickly. It's already open that the vaccinated Americans, which are most Americans, don't need a PCR test to come to Ireland. I'd expect it could be within days, Neil, but this is all guesswork because things change so fast in this COVID environment.
You're the greatest, as always, Eoghan. Thanks so much for taking the call. Eoghan Corry, Travel Magazine, back after 10.
It's almost